Hi, I'm Fred McNeil. You're watching QACTV 7. Now, we've got an interesting show for you. One of my favorite politicians, George O'Donnell. George, always great to see you.
Good to see you.
To me, he's Mr. Queen Anne's County. Well, now, George, you stepped up. Now you're Mr. Maryland. Tell me about this new exciting role you have.
Well, I'm delighted, Fred, to go back to my roots and work on bay issues. And my title in the Fisheries Division of the Department of Natural Resources, Fisheries Customer Relations Manager.
Okay, now explain what that all means.
Right, and what that means is that I'll be working with, as an outreach coordinator, to the user groups of the bay, stakeholders,
okay.
Everything from recreational fishermen, aquaculture folks, watermen, commercial.
This is the entire bay. That's not Queen Anne's County.
And the ocean. Because we have offshore control. I'll be going down to meet with the coastal people here very soon. I've got 2 people.
Pretty sneaky way to get to Ocean City, George. This is too slick.
I'm following the fleet. You know how many people? I'll just follow them all the way down. But no, it's a fascinating job where in the past I had worked with crabs and oysters and clams and eels. Now it's just opened it up to everything else from yellow perch in the headwaters to surf clams and hardshell clams in the mouth of the bay and all types of fish, and the influence that the ocean has on the bay and the headwaters of the basin that comes from the Susquehanna River, 460 miles long. That's
a lot of territory to cover, George.
It's interesting. The Chesapeake Bay never ceased to amaze me from when I grew up on it in Winchester Creek as a child.
Now, George, help me out. If somebody's fairly new to Queen Anne's County, or perhaps just been here in the last 5 or 10 years, share with us your wealth of experience from Commissioner, Judge of Orphans Court, born and raised in Queen Anne's County. Give them a little bio on George O'Donnell.
Well, I've had a fascinating life. I've lived here all my life. My family is 5 generations and from the Graysonville area, and I laugh about moving about a mile every 50 years. We love it so much we don't get very far. So right now I live on Kent Island, and that's been for the last several years. But my family's past is that they were working watermen and farmers when they came to the county a long time ago and evolved into watermen. And then I was a waterman until I left the water about 20-some years ago, and done other things. I've had an interesting life in that while I was very curious about the bay and how I could do things to benefit the county, I got into political life and represented people as a county commissioner for 2 terms from '94 to '02.
And a big friend of educators, right?
Well,
big friend of the bay and all the natural resources here in Queen Anne's County.
My public education has served me very well. It was the 12 years that I spent here, and dedicated teachers like yourself, Fred, that helped me do anything that I've been able to do has been a tribute to them. So absolutely, when we built Kent Island High School and Mattapique Elementary and really upgraded, did 7 school projects in 8 years. That was
probably the busiest time we had in education in Queen Anne's County.
The capital budget was developed when we were first elected in '94, and of course the Secretary of the Department, it shows you how life's path intertwines you with so many people and friends. The Secretary of the Department of Natural Resources, now Mark Belton, and I were elected together.
Good Queen Anne's County boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, he's from the Sudlersville area, and he and I were talking, and he suggested that there was a place for me with him again. And we got elected together. Then we hired him in my 2nd term, so he's worked for me, with me, and now
he's your boss.
Now I'm working for him. So
now, George, let me ask you this. I think you're the perfect guy for the job. What are some of your priorities? Have you and Mark come up with some priorities, or who do you want to deal with first? I mean, we talk about the waterman, oyster type problems, rockfish, or not.
There are a plethora of issues to deal with. Right now, of course, one of the water quality issues that greatly concerns many people from this section of the bay up is the sediment pollution that has occurred through the Conowingo Dam. And this is something this governor is very interested in. They just had a Chesapeake Bay conference that stemmed from the Chesapeake Bay Agreement of '83, which another great Eastern Shore governor started, Governor Harry Hughes. So we're looking at not only water quality issues, and of course all the fishery management issues, and then there are predation issues by, you hear a lot about cow's nose rays in the bay. It doesn't really have a natural predator other than sharks, but that going going to all the commission and advisory commission meetings. Aquaculture is a growing,
booming industry all over the world.
It's a growing thing in the Chesapeake Bay as well, and people are leasing bottom and leasing water. You have to be careful when you lease the water quality because there are other uses that could occur there. So those permits are very, very very highly scrutinized. The department just issued a public statement to look into oyster shell dredging on man-of-war shoals, which is very controversial. Those shells are used as substrate to regenerate the oyster industry. Okay. That's an issue. I mean, asking for an issue is like saying how many,
George,
how many bales of hay on. So no question about that. Last night was a Maryland Waterman Association board meeting that I was a part of many years ago, and they were talking about everything from the wonderful amount of crab. The public would be happy to know we have.
Prices are going to go down this year.
We have a wonderful. It's coming down as we speak. Good. We have a wonderful amount of crabs in the bay currently. Rockfish, for some reason, some predators are after them. So the majority of rockfish are from Kent Island north, and they're catching plenty of those as well. We see a regeneration of soft shell clams, a better skim of those in many harvesting areas than we've had in 20 years. That is good news. And then there are advisory things on. As you look at flounder and some of those fisheries, we have to be a little bit more careful. They're looked at as something that's under advisory that we got to work on.
Sounds like a pretty full agenda here.
Oh, it's a fascinating job. The thing that is really I found stunning about being in the Talls building in Annapolis, there is an unbelievable amount of information and expertise. You can go from
a lot of talent over there. A lot of talent.
One cubicle to another and talk for days on subjects that you have never heard of before. So if it's a living thing in Maryland, it goes
there's an expert over there.
It goes through the Department of Natural Resources, some form, whether you're talking about snakeheads, snakehead fish, things that are...
There's an expert over there with a PhD probably.
There is somebody, yes, I am on the low end of the education pool.
But you've got the school of hard knocks and the experience, right?
I told them my 33,000 years out on the bay on a boat brings another perspective. Another perspective that I think is helpful.
Now, George, how about this? People for years have known any public event in Queen Anne's County. Hey, there's old George Dono, and he'll talk issues with you. Sure. And for the last couple of years, I could always get a hold of you at Dunkin' Donuts.
Sure.
Now, someone watching the show, if they want to contact you, say, hey, George, I want to know yada yada. How do they contact you?
The best way to reach me, I'm still giving out, I have a personal phone and a business phone. My cards will be ready soon. We're still almost working out the name. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion on that today. But I would just tell someone at this point to call me on my cell, which is 410-490-7400, and then I can get them other information and more permanent information on how to discuss. And
what we promised the audience what we're going to do as soon as the county's fair is over. You've been kind enough to say we can come over and see your office over in the Talls building.
Yes.
And then we just sit down and just keep discussing this thing. George, we hope you use Channel 7 as an outlet, where maybe every couple months you'll come on and talk with us. Hey, what you're doing, what the Bay issues are, which would be a big help.
Well, absolutely, Fred. There's nothing I'm interested in keeping a secret. So an outreach director needs to be needs to be able to be contacted by the public, and also we'll be on everything from Facebook. The local papers have contacted me in the last week, and right now I'm starting to learn the way the bureaucracy is laid out.
How to play the PR game.
So I'm trying to from here on I'll be on the road a lot and a lot of meetings and all that to bring good information back so the policymakers can make things better, not only for the Bay users but for the resources as well.
Well, George, I tell you what, knowing you now for 20 plus years, you're a perfect man for the job. An outreach coordinator would be great, and I think us in Queen Anne's County are very proud you got the job, and now you're going to represent us and the whole state, all right?
Thank you, Fred. I appreciate it, and I look forward to the great challenges that we
Now, the only question I have, will Dunkin' Donuts survive the loss of revenue?
I certainly have to, because I was over in Annapolis. I had to stop in the one over there. So I go in there like Saturday mornings now. I've been so busy trying to learn the ropes in my
So corporate headquarters of Dunkin' Donuts is safe.
I'm getting so I don't get lost, at least on a daily basis, in that labyrinth in Annapolis. But we're really looking forward to doing some good things, working working under Commissioner Belton's leadership, and of course the Governor of the State of Maryland, Larry Hogan.
Well, great. Well, George, thank you for having us, and we're going to hopefully see you every couple months with an update, okay?
Absolutely, Fred. Look forward to it.
All right. I'm Fred McNeil. You've been watching QATV 7. We've been delighted to have George O'Donnell with us, and we're going to make Channel 7 his home station. All right, George?
Sounds good.
And we'll tell you what's going on in the state. Thank you for your time, and we're going to see you next time.